Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That's a good-looking group behind me. This group isn't too bad either. Very nice. Nice to be with you. Beautiful, right? Beautiful. Thank you very much. And thank you all for being here to support one of the most important pieces of legislation in the history of our country. And that's everybody saying that, virtually everybody. The one big, beautiful bill to secure our borders, turbocharge our economy, and bring back the American dream. That's what's happening too. It's met with tremendous approval and reception. And when we were thinking about doing it, we were going to break it down into 3, 4, 5, 6, or even 7 bills. And I said, let's make it one big, beautiful bill, Mike, right? They actually said it would be very much harder to get this way, but it would be better. And the truth is, I think it worked out well because there's something for everybody, and I think in many ways much better. We're delighted to be joined by Secretaries Marco Rubio, Scott Bessent, Pete Hegseth, Doug Burgum, Doug Collins, Sean Duffy, Howard Lutnick, Linda McMahon, Brooke Rollins, Scott Turner, Chris Wright. Wow, that's a hell of a group. I think that's the biggest group of cabinet members. That's the biggest group of cabinet, and we're not finished yet because we have our great Attorney General Pam Bondi here. U.S. Trade Representative, and he's working around 24 hours. We have them one after another. Countries come. Everybody wants to be with us because we have the hottest country in the world. A year ago, we had a disaster on our hand. We had the coldest country, I think, by far. And now we have the hottest. The King of Saudi Arabia, when I was there, we brought back $5.1 trillion between Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and UAE. And all three said, great leaders, they all said to me the same thing. You know, it's amazing. In 4 months at that time now it's getting to be close to 6. But in 4 months, they said, you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. It's not even close. And they thought we were dead a year before that. They said, I thought you were dead. The country was dead. And it was pretty close to it. But we have the hottest country in the world, so it's great. And Trade Representative Jamieson Greer is very busy because, where are you, Jamieson? Everybody wants to make a deal and have a part of it, right? I know you and Howard and Scott are working overtime, making deals with other countries. Remember a few months ago, the press was saying, do you really have anybody of any interest? Well, we just signed with China yesterday, right? Just signed with China. We have everybody. We're not going to make deals with everybody. Some we're just going to send them a letter, say, thank you very much. You're going to pay 25, 35, 45%. That's the easy way to do it. And my people don't want to do it that way. They want to do some of it, but they want to make more deals than I would do. But we're having some great deals. We have one coming up, maybe with India, very big one, where we're going to open up India. In the China deal, we're starting to open up China, things that never really could have happened. And the relationship with every country has been very good. And we also have OMB Director, who's very busy also, Russ Vogt. Thank you. Thank you, Russ. And also, I want to give a very special thank you. This is a hell of a group we have here. This is amazing, the quality of people. But actually, I like these people and most of those people much better than the people I just named, okay? But a very special thanks as well to Speaker Mike Johnson, who's a great, legendary guy. He's going to go down as a legend. A great friend of mine, a fantastic Senator, Roger Marshall, wherever you may be, Roger. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bernie Marino, great win Bernie had in Ohio. Bernie, great win. That was a tough race. They said that was not winnable, and he won by about 5 points, so that was pretty good. So much for not winnable. Mike Lee is here. Mike, hi, Mike. Thank you, Mike. Tim Sheehy, another tremendous win. Way to go, Tim. Young, handsome. That was another race that wasn't supposed to be able to be won. They said, well, we have a very young, handsome guy. I said, does that matter? Looks don't matter, do they, Mike? Looks. Anyway, great job. You can't help it. You can't help it. Great. That was a great race, along with Representatives Paul Gosar, Greg Murphy, Tom Kaine, Jen Kiggins, Rob Bresnahan, who's a, where is Rob? Stand up, Rob. Let me see you. Good. He's done a fantastic job. And Ryan McKenzie. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you all. That's great. It's a big group of people. We're here this afternoon to share the stories of an incredible group of patriots from across the nation whose future we are defending with the one big, beautiful bill. This is the ultimate codification of our agenda to, very simply, a phrase that's been used pretty well by me over the last 10 years, but maybe even before that, make America great again. Very simple, make America great again. When Joe Biden used to get up and say, we will stop this horrible MAGA. We're going to stop MAGA. We're going to fight it. We're going to, I said, Joe, loosen up. It's called Make America Great Again. It's okay. Remember that he got up so angry. He was so angry. He said, make America great again. But we'll deliver a record tax cut, a record spending cut, a record investment in border security. We've done so well on the border. You know, last month, we had 0 people that crossed the border. 0. So Christie and Tom Homan and some of the people, what a job you've done. But, you know, people forget about that. They don't care. The border's been fixed. I wanted to talk about the border 2 days ago at a big group. Sir, they don't want to hear about the border. Why? It's fixed. You know, it's the second time it happened to me. In 2016, I won on the border. I fixed it in about 3 months. It was beautiful. And they wouldn't let me talk about the border. Sir, nobody wants to hear about the border. But we're going to talk about it anyway. Right, Tom Homan? We're talking about it anyway. So we have a big number of dollars that's coming here because we want to keep it that way, and we want to keep it fixed, and a record number of deportations. We're bringing criminals out by the thousands. Nobody can even imagine. They let people in that were murderers, 11,888 murderers, gang members, people from mental institutions, and insane asylum. You know what that is? That's insane asylum. That's a mental institution on steroids. During the campaign, I talk about the late, great Hannibal Lecter. Do you know who that is, Hannibal Lecter? Silence of the Lambs. I'd talk about it, and the fake news would go crazy. Why does he keep mentioning? Well, because we won in a landslide. That's why they don't want to have Hannibal in our midst. And the day I signed this bill into law, almost every major promise made in the 2024 campaign already will have become a promise kept. And that's very important. Promises made, promises kept. And according to the Council of Economic Advisors, these reforms will protect or create more than 7 million jobs, add 3.1% to economic growth, reduce taxes for the typical American by nearly 15%, and increase take-home pay for the normal family of 4 by at least $13,000, and that takes place immediately. That's not bad, right? Look, I'm looking at that guy back there, right? That's pretty good. And if we had a person over at the Fed that would lower interest rates a little bit, that would be helpful too. It's hard to believe. This is on top of, you know, we have to fight this guy. He's not doing the job. Each point that he keeps it up is the equivalent of $300 billion. $300 billion. So if he loaded 2, it would save $600 billion. We have to work hard with cuts on that, right? That's a lot of cutting. And this guy could do it so easily. We don't have inflation. Well, we might have inflation. Yeah, and if you do, you raise the rate a little bit. That's okay. But we're going out because Biden gave us a lot of short-term debt. And in giving us short-term debt, he did us no favor. So I think what we'll do is we'll probably just extend the short-term debt and then go out, because I don't want to tie it up for 10 or 15 years at a high rate. But every point is it's really more, is 300 billion. So if we got it down to 1%, we're talking about almost $1 trillion in saving just with the stroke of a pen. No work, no missing anything, just like an accounting situation. Oh, Doug Collins, I just see Doug. Did I mention you, Doug? I don't think so. I'm glad I saw you. I'm glad that somebody's going to be in big trouble with you. They didn't write your name down, Doug. Somebody's in big, somebody's in, I got you. So we think of that, though. We save, and all you have to do, it's so simple. I'm explaining to this guy, and Biden extended him. That wasn't good. I'm explaining to him, you can do so much for our country. You could save $1 trillion just with a stroke of a pen. Just the utterance of a sentence that we're going to be cutting. It's a shame. It's a shame. We're one of the highest. We should be the lowest. You know, with the United States of America, we'd have money coming in like at levels that they have never seen. I got a call the other day from the people in Congress because we're doing our bill. I didn't even tell you this, Mike, and they called. They said, there's something wrong with the numbers, sir. I said, what's wrong? I don't know. They're not balancing out. There's something really wrong. I said, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, we don't know. I said, what's the problem? We're taking in much more money than we have scheduled. I said, so far that sounds good. They said, how much is it? About $80 billion. I said, do me a favor, check the tariff line. They called me back an hour later. Sir, we've taken in $88 billion in tariffs. Isn't that a beautiful thing? 88 billion. I thought I'd tell these little stories. Go off script and tell these little stories, Scott, right? Because it does make it a little more interesting. Although my speechwriters have just gotten every award in the book. Vince, where are you, Vince? Good. Where are we? Where's Ross? He's gotten all these awards, and I'm going off the record all the time. Where is he? He didn't show up to the speech. He wrote the speech. He didn't show. Well, that means he has confidence in me. According to the Council of Economic Advisors, these reforms will protect or create more than 7 million jobs, add 3.1% to economic growth, reduce taxes for the typical American by nearly 15%, and increase take-home pay for a normal family by an incredible $13,000. All of these things are happening. And by the way, there's no inflation. All of the numbers I gave you, all of the money that's coming in, and maybe more importantly than the billions of dollars we're taking in with tariffs, is the fact that we've got hundreds of plants going up all over the United States that never would have been here. I was with Howard and Scott and Texas Instruments the other day, and the head of Texas Instruments, they're going to spend $60 billion in the United States. And he said, sir, please don't do it to me. And I looked at him, I knew exactly what he meant. He said, you mean tariffs, right? He said, that's right. If you ever get rid of those tariffs, you've cost me a fortune. They're all coming in because they don't want to pay the tariffs, and they're coming in at levels. And it only works for the United States because it doesn't work for other countries, but it works for us. We have a record investment. We have records and everything. And when these places open up, that's bigger than the $15 trillion that I'm talking about. You know, you don't see it right away. But bigger is the fact that they're all coming in, they're building their factories, the AI factories and the auto plants. We have auto plants that are closing up in other countries. I don't want to specifically name the countries, but you know who they are. And they're coming into the U.S. and they're opening up and building like nobody's ever seen anything like it. I don't call it a miracle. I call it, if this should have been done 40 years ago, we would have never lost our auto. We lost 50% of our auto industry to China, Mexico, Canada, and various other countries. Should have never happened if you had a president that said, we're going to charge you tariffs. You're not going to build next to us. Send it in and take away our jobs. If you would have said 25, 50, or 100% tariff, not one company would have left. But they weren't business people. They were politicians, not very good ones, and some good ones, but some really not good at anything, to be honest with you. We're going to stop the largest tax hike, and we're going to do that in history. This would be, if the bill doesn't pass, there'll be a 68% tax increase. Think of that, 68%. which would be the largest in history by about 40 points. And we'll make the Trump tax cuts permanent, expand the child tax credit, and we will deliver no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. Among the countless citizens who will benefit from these tax cuts is Malachi Krzyzewski, a devoted mom and DoorDash driver from Ripon, Wisconsin, who uses her tip income to support her son. To think of that, no tax on tips, and it was a very big problem. I was at a dinner in my beautiful building in Las Vegas, and unrelated to this, and I said, what's going on? I will never say good-looking waitress because looks don't matter anymore, you know, in our modern society. She happened to be beautiful, but I won't say that. I won't mention that. But nevertheless, a waitress came over, and I said, how are you doing? She said, not good, sir. Why? The government is killing me on tips. And she looked at me, she said, sir, there should be no tax on tips. I said, say it again. There should be no tax on tips. I said, that's the coolest thing I've ever heard. I walked outside. The press was there, as always, waiting for something bad to happen, hundreds of them. I said, ladies and gentlemen, please announce tonight there will be no tax on tips. And a legend was made. We won Nevada by so much. Republicans don't win Nevada. We won Nevada. So I want to thank that young, beautiful waitress. Thank you very much. But with no tax on tips and other cuts, this bill will save Malachi thousands of dollars per year, enabling her to achieve her goal of visiting every U.S. state with her son. She wants to visit every state by the time he's 18 years old. So, Malachi, it sounds to me like you're off to a fantastic start. And where are you, Malachi? Where are you? Congratulations. Thank you. Great. That's good. Thank you. Also with us today is Luke Wilson, a 23-year-old electrical lineman. He loves being an electrician, but in this case, the lineman. And these are guys that take big risk, and it's hard stuff. But if you know what you're doing, it's fine. He's from Harmony, Pennsylvania, as well as Dee Sova, a truck driver from Springfield, Missouri, where, by the way, our beautiful planes landed, our B-2s. They landed after 36 hours of flying. Great going, Pete. And they hit the target. And they hit the target, and the target has now been proven to be obliterated, just as we said. We had little fake news from CNN. Thank you very much, CNN, for that. With 3 million miles of driving under her belt, who mentors other women in her industry. And I just want to say, Luke and Dee spend countless hours working overtime to help make this country run. And this bill, the typical overtime worker like them will take home nearly $1,500 extra every single year. So you're talking about at least $1,500, and there will be no harassment because you were being harassed by the Democrats. So Luke and Dee, congratulations to you both. Thank you very much. Congratulations, wherever you may be. Thank you. Thank you very much. Also with us is James Benson, a third-generation auto worker from Belleville, Michigan, who has spent 26 years at Ford Motor Company, which is doing very well. They have a lot of plants in this country. If you have plants in this country, you're going to make a lot of money. And is a member of a tremendous group of people, auto workers. And I'll tell you, we love these people. Auto workers for Trump, and I came through for them, but they were with me long before I really thought. A lot of people said, is he going to run again? Will he run? They've always been with me, the auto workers. James was a lifelong Democrat until 2017, when he saw the benefits of our tax law, and he also liked Trump. Now, sometimes they can like the law, but if they don't like the candidate, it's not going to matter, right? Is that right, Marco? Marco knows, because he has been one hell of a great Secretary of State, right? Stand up, Marco. Everybody respects Marco, right? True. Everybody respects him. Now we're delivering an even bigger win for the auto workers by making interest on car payments fully tax deductible. You know, that's something only rich people seem to have gotten. I said, you know, and that was my idea. It's pretty simple. But I said, you know, the rich people, they always looking for deductions. We want deductions. Linda, did I say, will you please stand up? Linda McMahon. So great. How much is Harvard going to be charged? How much are you asking for Harvard? Because they really have violated a lot of different caveats, haven't they? Huh? A lot, like a lot. They've been given $5 billion over the years. Can you imagine? And that's over a short number of years. That's just the beginning. They have $52 billion sitting in the bank, and they haven't been nice to our country. So I want to thank Linda McMahon, who's been really fantastic. But I said, on interest, I said, why couldn't we, if a car is made in the United States only, because otherwise we don't care if it's made someplace else, give the people that buy the car a deduction on the interest that they're paying to buy the car. And people said, what a great idea. It's so simple. It's like the paperclip. Somebody came up with the idea of a paperclip many years ago, 1817, and he became a very rich person. And everybody looked at it and said, why the hell didn't I think of that? But it's like the paperclip, but only if the car is made in America. Remember that, James. We're going to keep those Michigan auto factories roaring. And as you know, we won Michigan by a lot, Susie, right? We won Michigan by a big margin, and something that typically is not easy, but I think we've won it. I actually think we've won it 3 times in a row. So it's been a great state, but a big factor with the auto workers. They went with us very big, and I love them. The One Big Beautiful Bill will also be an incredible victory for American farmers, another group that we did great with, especially family farmers like James Cullifer of Virginia Beach. Our bill will provide 100% expensing so they can buy a new farm equipment. And by the way, the expensing is good for everybody, not just farmers. And it'll virtually eliminate the so-called estate tax or the death tax. So you have a farm, you leave it to your children. If you like the children, you leave it. If you don't worry about the details. No, some people don't want to leave them. They don't like their kids, you know? Anybody in here not liking their children, farmers? But if you like your kids, you want to leave it. And a lot of times what was happening before I got there, because I put this in the first tax bill, as you know, but people would die, they'd leave their farm. There was no cash, but there was value to the farm, sometimes good value. It's called real estate rich and cash poor. And the kids had no money, and they'd be foreclosed out by a bank. They'd borrow money to pay the estate tax. You don't have to pay estate tax anymore. That's pretty big stuff. So for the farmers and for others in small business, it's great. But James's family has been working the land for generations, and with this bill, we will ensure that family farms like his can stay in the family for many generations to come. Where's James? James, you around? Where's James? That's great. And you know what I mean, James, right? People pass away, they love their kids or whoever they're leaving, but they love their kids especially. And you won't have the family farmer anymore the long time because they were losing them to the banks, and they were losing them at record numbers. It's not going to happen anymore. There's no tax. We're also going to empower American parents by expanding opportunity scholarships to provide school choice. School choice is a big deal. And we just got school working with the governor of Texas, as you know, Greg Abbott. We just had it passed in Texas, and I know about that. Somebody said, yeah, that was a big deal. They've been trying to get it for 9 years, and they asked me if I'd call the legislature, Republicans in the legislature, and I did. And I gave them a pep talk, and everybody voted for it. First time, they were shocked, but they never asked me to call them before. This was the first time, and they got it passed, right, Susie? It was amazing. And it was something that Dan and Greg and everybody, they really wanted it. And Ted Cruz wanted it badly. They all wanted it, so we got it in Texas. But you're going to have it, more and more people are talking about school choice. Good thing. This will be the godsend for mothers like Angelina Banks from Philadelphia. Where's Angelina? Where is Angelina? Oh, you are very pretty. She went out for a second and she's coming back. Okay? Where's Ange? Come on over here, Angelina. Oh, that's terrible. Oh, wow. How are you? I won't ask you where you've been, okay? I promise. But it's great to have you. It's great to have. I mentioned your name. I said, "Where's Angelina?" He said, "She'll be right back, sir." Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And Aubrey and Ava Jane, Angelina says the tax relief for child care and education are a foundation for stability and dignity. I think those were your words, right? Stability and dignity. Good words for her family. And with the One Big Beautiful Bill, we're delivering both, empowering hundreds of thousands of families to choose the public, private, charter, religious school, or the home school of their choice. And Angelina, thank you very much for being with us. Beautiful. Beautiful. So this bill will also be the single most important piece of border legislation ever to cross the floor of Congress. We will hire 3,000 new Border Patrol officers and 10,000 new ICE agents. And these people are great. I tell you what, I got to know a lot of them. And we have tremendous representation. They've been for me from day one. In fact, I shouldn't say this, but they endorsed me when I first ran, almost at the beginning. And they weren't sure if they were allowed to endorse me. And they said, "We don't care, we're endorsing you." But they were great, and they've been my friends ever since. But think of that. So we're going to hire 3,000 new Border Patrol officers, 10,000 new ICE agents. And, you know, these ICE guys, they go into war zones, and they're tough, and they love our country. And if you're not going to be tough, you're not going to do well. But they are tough, and they'll break into a pack, and they call them a pack. Some of these packs come out of the jails of Venezuela. They come from places that you don't want to know about. They're gang members that have been all sent in here through Biden's open door stupid policy. The dumbest policy, I think, well, we have a lot of dumb policies, but the worst, I think, is open borders, where anybody comes into our country totally unvetted, totally unchecked. And they're drug dealers, and they're people that we don't want them. And they're murderers, you know, they're murderers. I told you, over 11,000 murderers. They're in here. 50% of those, by the way, murdered more than one person. And they came in, no check-in, no anything. It's so sad. What that man has done to this country, we should never forget it, okay? We should never, ever forget it. With that whole group of people, I don't even think it was him. He didn't believe in open borders. He didn't believe in men playing in women's sports or transgender for everybody. But what that group of people has done to this country will never, ever, I don't think we can ever allow history to forget it. What they've done to us is so sad. We're going to fully fund the final sections of Border Wall, impose a new remittance tax on money sent back to foreign countries, and dramatically increase deportations to a bare minimum of 1 million illegal aliens per year. And what we're doing is we're really going after the criminal aliens, of which we have plenty to work with. People say, well, that's a lot, isn't it? Well, remember, these countries are very smart. They're headed up by people I know. In almost all cases, they're very smart people, and they're people of great common sense. They're not sending their good people out. They're sending the bad people out, and they put them into caravans. I think I came up with that name, but somebody did. It's a great name, a caravan. Thousands, and sometimes as many as 30,000 people walking right into our country. Again, last month we had none. Think of that. It's almost, people say it's almost impossible. But they come in, and at a minimum, they're not people that work very hard. They're people that are on welfare. They don't want them. They don't want them. They give them to us. It's incredible what's happened, and it's so sad to see. It's so sad. It could make you just sick to your stomach when you think about it. I was going to say it could make you cry, but I like to pretend I never cry. I don't want to be a crier, but it makes you sick to think of what they did. What they did to us is just sick. And guys, if we didn't have a Tom Homan, and if we didn't have some of the guys that we have working so hard and dangerously, the country wouldn't stand a chance. But we're getting them out, not as fast as they came in, because they came in and you'd see hundreds of thousands pour into our country in a day. But we're getting them out. And here today is Angel Dad Joe Abraham, the Angel Moms and Angel Dads. These are incredible people. They lost their precious 20-year-old daughter, Katie, in a hit and run after she was struck by an illegal alien from Guatemala. Katie was stopped at a traffic light, rear-ended, full force, going 60, 70 miles an hour right into the back of her car while she stopped. And She died immediately. And her killer, I think you could really say, the killer fled the scene. And Joe, we will end this invasion once and for all, and we're always going to remember the memory of Katie, that beautiful, beautiful 20-year-old daughter of yours. Where's Joe? Is she around here? Joe? Come here, Joe. Come here. Ah, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Thank you, Joe, very much. Also with us is Sarah Stewart from Kerrville, Texas, who lost her brother to the fentanyl epidemic that has inundated her small town. Our bill provides billions and billions of dollars to stop fentanyl and other illicit narcotics. We're also charging other countries like Mexico, Canada, and China billions of dollars in taxes that we put on because they've allowed people that are selling fentanyl to go through their countries, or in the case of China, they send it here, and paying a lot of money at least, but would rather stop it. I think we're doing a big job of that, but would rather stop it. And other illicit narcotics pouring across the border and stealing more American lives. And thank you. Sarah will not rest until that fight is done. We're going to get that fight done. Sarah Stewart is where? Sarah? Hi, Sarah. Beautiful. Thank you. Good guy, huh? Yeah. I can see that. I also want to thank the president of the National Border Patrol. His name is Paul Perez. He's been with me from the beginning. And Brandon before him. These are great people. I've gotten very friendly with some of these people from Border Patrol and ICE because I'd call them once every 2 or 3 days. How we doing? How we doing? How we doing? If you remember, Kamala was the border czar, and in 4 years she never made one call to Paul or Brandon or anybody else. And I'd like to have Paul come up, say a couple of words if you're here. Paul? Where are you, Paul? Oh, there you are. Go ahead, Paul.
President Trump made promises that he's kept. Now it's time for Congress to back him up. We need to end the chaotic and recklessness that Biden allowed into this country. The millions of people that are out there, we're going to get with this big, beautiful bill. We've got the funding, we've got the technology, we need everything in that bill to get it done so that no more families are victimized. And those that have victimized families, we can go get them out with ICE. Our officers and agents are not afraid. We're ready to take this fight to them, and we've been so because of President Trump's leadership. Thank you, sir.
He's been a great friend of the country. He really has, and he's worked with Tom Homan and Christie and all the people that work so hard. They have been incredible. And, you know, I wasn't going to do this, but I see Tom Homan is sitting there, and, you know, I have to call him up. Look at that. I don't call up the Speaker of the House. I don't call up Marco or Peter or anyone. But I want to call this guy because this guy is keeping us very, very safe. Come on up, Tom.
Well, look, I think this issue of the big, beautiful bill should be nonpartisan. I don't know what the hell's the matter with everybody up in Congress? People are dying every day. ICE is arresting 3 times as many criminals that the Biden administration did. We're taking public safety threats and national security threats off the street every single day. But we got over 600,000 illegal aliens with criminal histories walking the streets of this country. We got less than 5,000 deportation officers. This should be a no-brainer. The more resources we get, if we get this bill passed, we got more agents on the road. We buy more beds, we get more transportation flights. More agents means more bad guys arrested, taken off the streets of this country every single day. Every day we arrest a public safety threat or national security threat, this makes this country much safer. Who the hell would be against that? And I get irritated, I get pissed off because I'm sick of meeting angel moms and dads. You want to talk about family separation? They bury their children. So I've done this since 1984. I've worked for 6 different presidents. No one has had the success of the Trump administration. We got the most secure border in the history of this nation today. But we need more border wall. Border walls save lives. Women and children can't get over that wall, which means they go to a place where there's not a wall. And what's waiting on them? The men and women of the Border Patrol who take care of the humanitarian needs and save their lives. We already got fentanyl seizures down half. Fentanyl seizures should be 100%. We should have zero fentanyl coming to this country. We need money to help secure that border at a higher level. Stop the fentanyl from coming in. Stop the sex trafficking of women and children. Stop the known inspected terrorists coming across that border. Right now, I was looking at the stats today. ICE is arresting a record number of known suspected terrorists in this country along with the FBI. With more money, we can arrest more of these people, make this country safer. This is a nonpartisan issue. Let's make this country safe again. So to the Democrats and the Republicans and the Independents, I don't care who you're from, pass the bill so we can make this country safe, so we can stop the violence against ICE officers. Let's make this country safe again, and without that bill, it's going to be a hard road. We got a lot of people to look for, a lot of people to arrest, a lot of national security threats we know are in this country. We need to find them. We need more money to do that. We need more agents to do that. For God's sake, let's pass this bill and get this done.
He got so angry, he didn't even shake my hand or look at me. Just But he's right. He's right. And we have no money for the border if we don't pass this bill. We have virtually nothing. And so we're going to get it done for you, Tom, and for all of the people that have worked with you. It's been amazing, the job you've done. And just in finishing, look, this is the largest tax cut in the history of our country. They want to give you, the Democrats want to give you the biggest tax increase in the history of our country. They have things, whether it's border or economic development or no tax on tips and Social Security and no tax on overtime and all these different things. There are hundreds of things here. It's so good. And we're going to also cut costs. We're cutting $1.7 trillion in this bill, and you're not going to feel any of it. And your Medicaid is left alone. It's left the same. Your Medicare and your Social Security are strengthened. We're not cutting. The Democrats are going to destroy all three of them because it's not sustainable. They'll end up cutting your Medicare, Medicaid in half. So we're going to do a real job. It's so important. So if you can, call your senators, call your congressmen. We have to get the vote. I want to thank you. You have been unbelievable, Mr. Speaker. You have worked round the clock for months, And, you know, I shouldn't say this, but we don't want to have grandstanders where one or two people raise their vote. We vote no. And they do it to grandstand, that's all. Not good people. They know who I'm talking about. I call them out. But we don't need grandstanders. We have to get our country back and bring it back strong. And our country is going to be stronger, bigger, better than ever before. We're going to make it better than ever before. And that's despite the bad hand that we were dealt 6 months ago. We were dealt a really bad hand. We were dealt a sick hand. It's unbelievable. You know, when I came back yesterday, as you know, I made a big trip to a place where we had 28 countries represented, and we did something that's never been done. They've raised the number of money, the amount of money that they've spent to $1 trillion a year, and that's for world safety. But they all asked me the same question. They said, how could you have allowed this to happen to your country? I said, I didn't do it. But they said, how could you allow people to pour in? They don't understand it. They all have borders. They have fences, they have walls, or they have just strong people standing there. You can't do it. And they said to me, you know, it's amazing that they allowed these things to happen. And it's amazing, too. I agree. You know, as a business guy, I always like to understand where the other side's coming from. What do they want? What do they get? And, you know, you can make good deals based on understanding the other side. I never understood the other side in this case. Why would they allow people to pour into our country unchecked? You know, I can see people wanting people to come in, and you let them come in. You have a vetting process. You let good people. We're letting a lot of good people in, but they're coming in legally. But why would you allow people to come in that you can look at them and say, big trouble, big trouble? Why would you do it? It's nobody understands. And A lot of people say voting, but, you know, we've got to strengthen up our elections because the voting is crooked as hell. Got to strengthen it up. But it's not that. It's either they're stupid and they're not stupid, or they hate our country. But we love our country, and we're going to stop this madness, and we're going to get this bill approved. And all of the things that I've been talking about now for 2 years on the campaign trail, and we won, remember, we won every single swing state. We won by millions of votes. We won everything. We won every, it was a landslide. We won something that nobody talks about, districts. You have thousands of districts. We won 2,750 to 505. Think of that. That's why when you see a map, the whole map is red. That stands for Republican, by the way, because it stands for a lot of other things too, but it stands for Republican with a little piece of blue on each side. But that's why, think of that, 2,750 districts to 505 districts. That's what, this was a slaughter, but it gave us a mandate to do some great things. And I want to thank John Thune, and I want to thank the speaker, and I want to thank Marco and everybody here, they have been so incredible. Pam, you've been unbelievable as the Attorney General. We appreciate it. Not easy, not easy. And we're coming back faster than anybody ever thought possible. I told you what they said to me on just trips by very smart people. But we're going to make this, we're going to do this very quickly. It's happening a lot faster than even I thought possible. And we're going to be celebrating very quickly, and we're going to be celebrating for a long time because we're turning our country around. We're getting our country back. And we're ruling with common sense, you know, whether you're conservative or liberal or, as they like to say, progressive. They don't like the word liberal anymore. Progressive, I think it's a beautiful word, too. That's why I call them liberal. It's too nice a word. I don't know how you can be progressive when you're turning the country backwards. But no matter what you are, it's all about common sense. And I think that's the way I've ruled. I do what's right. I want to have borders. I don't want to have transgender for anybody that happens to leave the house at a young age, the things they do. I don't want to have men playing in women's sports. That's got to be, you know, they say it's an 80-20. I think it's a 97-3 issue. It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. There was a long-distance race the other day, or at least reasonably recently, and they had a top man and they had top woman, but it was a woman's race, and the man entered. He happened to be transitioned. Isn't that lovely? And he entered the race, and he beat the champion woman by 5 hours and 14 seconds. 5 hours, that's a lot. Think of it, you're waiting 5 hours for your beautiful daughter to come in. Come on, baby, let's go. You can do it. He won by 5 hours and 14 seconds. It is crazy, and it's so demeaning, and they don't want to change. I see it the other day. Guys like Schumer, our great Palestinian senator, this guy, no, he's changed. He used to like Jewish people. Now he's totally against Jewish people. It's the most incredible transformation I think I've ever seen. But who would allow this to happen? In other sports, the same thing. Try the weightlifting numbers someday. You want to see some big differences. In a million years, the women will never catch these numbers. It's not going to happen. And it's very demeaning to women, and I don't like it when it's demeaning to women. So we're turning the country around fast. We love you all. Thank you very much, and good luck. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. President, can Congress finish this by July 4th?
We hope so.
Mr. President, what's the message on the floor?
Please remain in your seats until all state participants have departed the room. Thank you.
President.